Hey, how you doing, everybody? Sarasota Tim coming to you from Delray Beach, Florida. I'm driving down Atlantic Avenue towards I-95, and I'm going to go down one exit to Linton Boulevard to Boca Ray Barbershop. If you ever want to get a good haircut, go to Boca Ray Barbershop, see Chris, and he'll skin you up. That's what I'm going to get. It's called a skin. He's going to be high and tight. I went 3 weeks ago, and it's not too bad right now. But when you get those ones that are real close, they're a little more high maintenance because once you grow out a little bit. So I thought I'd go down and give him the business. And while I'm on my way down there, I thought I would talk about the real estate market. Let's talk about, should you buy or should you rent? Well, I found some really interesting information that really doesn't make any sense whatsoever to buy. That's right. It's always been, buy, then rent. You're throwing your money out the window, right? Well, think about these numbers. Right now, if you buy a house, the average price of a home is $450,000, and the median income nationwide is $75,000. The median income in Florida is $67,000, and the houses are very expensive. The interest rate is 7 to 8%, and the cost of a house for a mortgage payment is $3,000 a month to start. That's before you pay for your utilities and maintenance. So $36,000 a year, you're making $67,000 gross. So your take home's about $55,000 and you're paying $36,000 for a house. That's over 50% of your dollars you're going to have to spend paying your house payment. That doesn't add up very good. That doesn't leave much for Christmas. Now, the way to offset that, the way to make it very affordable, is if your boss calls you in tomorrow and says, the cost of living is so expensive and, it's going to be over 50%, 45 to 55% of your money to buy a house. We're going to give you a $20,000 a year raise. That's not going to happen. So either rates and house prices have to come down or incomes have to go up. All these things have to happen. And what's going to happen is this, that nobody has a crystal ball, and the government can always come out and turn on the printing machines again and say, we're not going to, no matter what, have a recession and start printing trillions of dollars again. But I think that's why Jerome Powell and the Fed is raising these rates, and they're going to continue to raise them every month. He already said he's going to raise it 2 times. Then he came out and said the board says 2 or more times. And if they just go in the baby steps that they've been going at 25 basis points with 5 or 6 months remaining in this year, they could raise it every month. Because quantitative tightening is what they're doing. They're trying to get the inflation down, right? So houses are very expensive, and if the rate keeps going up like that, it's just no way it's not affordable. So it's not just that there's no inventory. Houses have to come down in price. So rents, housing is here, cost, rental is here. It used to be like right here, and buying was down here right below renting, where it was always a better deal to buy a house. People always say, why rent? Buy the house. Why pay $1,000 a month rent? I know that was the old days. When you can buy that condo for $750 a month. And every dollar you put in every month, you're paying yourself. And the day you ever sell that condo, you'll have all your payments back, and money and more money. And that was true. But now you go buy a house, they're gonna go down about anywhere between 15 and 35%. Okay? That's speculation. They're not going to drop 50% like they did in '08, and the reason is they gave too many people mortgages that didn't qualify. If you could fog a mirror, they gave you a mortgage back in 2006, and then when the crash happened, the houses dropped 50%. But you know how long houses depreciated before they started going back up again? 6 years. 6 years. So houses are going down now, ever so little, but they're already going down. And it doesn't matter if it goes down $1 or $100,000. If it's going down, it's not going up. And so if it goes down, for 3 to 4 years, and it goes down, and it takes that to go back up, you're looking at several years of, if you bought a house today, not only will you be house poor, probably would go into foreclosure because you would end up, if you lose your job, you couldn't make the payment. You're not enjoying your life. You're sweating it out. So you would be just underwater immediately. And if you sold it, you would lose money. So a house is not a good investment. A house is not an asset. Why do you think these Airbnb investors are selling, or going to be potentially forced selling? They're getting a 21 to 50% cut in their profits from last year. That's what they're seeing, less, 20 to 50%. And so if they're not making, over 5% profit on an investment property, and you can get 5.1, 5.2% on a CD with no risk, why would you even want to mess with a house? So it's all upside down right now. Buying a house is not a good idea. I don't want one. I've wanted one my whole life, but I'm waiting for the correction. And the correction's coming. But when the correction happens and it starts, don't think that's the end. Even next year, you're going to lose more if you buy the prices next year. I'm speculating, but I'm saying most likely. So if you're on the fence about buying a house, there's a whole bunch of apartments, townhomes, condos, single-family homes that are being built that are coming almost due to be finished every month right now. And those are going to be going for rent because no one's going to buy them. Airbnb, they're going to start probably renting, if they don't have a forced sale, to locals, in a year-round lease instead of these, weekender Airbnb people. And like in Nashville, Tennessee, I heard they haven't seen an increase in houses in their whole history as they have this year or the last couple of years. And no one is renting those Airbnbs right now. So the houses, the investment people aren't buying houses there anymore. They're going to have to sell houses to the locals, of which only make, it's a pretty high income there in Nashville. I think it's around 70 grand or something or more. So, but that still doesn't qualify you for a $450,000 house or make it that affordable. So all these people from California that came, and investors and Airbnb people and Zillow and whatever that bought these houses, if they're not going to continue to buy them, real estate is going to have to start selling to their locals. And if locals can't afford it and you want to sell, you're going to have to do something. The rate's going to have to come down, which isn't going to happen. Not for a long time. And probably never see 2 or 3% again in our lifetimes. And the housing prices are just going to have to come down. So as unemployment goes up and these corporations and businesses find out that they're not going to turn on the printing presses and bail them out of their businesses, and they see that they're not selling enough widgets, they're just going to start laying people off in these big companies and corporations. Unemployment's going to spike. You've got people, 44 million people, having to start paying their student loan payments again. And there's going to be a break for some of them, but a lot of people aren't going to have that discretionary cash, that $300 to $400 a month that they were using on something else, or a car they bought, or credit card debt they've encountered. So they don't have the money now to qualify to want to buy a house at these numbers. So the houses are going to come down, and they need to come down. So when they come down, then we'll talk about buying one. But right now, I guess we're just forced to rent. But rents will come down too as more availability becomes on the market, between forced selling of Airbnb, all these projects and developers that have been building townhomes, apartments, and single-family homes, and the builders are doing everything they can to try and sell them, and people aren't biting because it takes all the fun out of it. If you've got to just work to pay for a house, your whole paycheck practically, that just takes all the fun out of it. It's like buying a car today, and they're wanting $600 to $1,000 a month car payments. That just takes all the fun out of driving a nice car. So all of these things in the economy, it's not just houses, it's going to be cars and everything else that's going to be changing. And we need this change. So don't worry about buying a house for a while. Just go rent you something right now. Keep your money in the bank and be ready to pounce when the correction happens. A parking spot around this barber shop here. This place is jam-packed. Where's the bad economy around here? Everybody's out spending like the money's just never going to end. Of course, where I live, people could never probably spend their money they have in 10 lifetimes. There's so much money in South Florida. And, people got rich on that pandemic too. All these businesses and stuff that took millions and millions of dollars from the government for these PPP loans, forgivable loans. And now, what is this, tollway zone? Why does it say tollway zone? Don't park in a tollway zone, Baker. Wow, these people are just driving around here like a bat out of hell. I'm telling you, folks, there's nowhere to park. I'm not going to do door dings. There's one right here I'll try to do. Yeah. So anyway, I just want to talk about that. And it's not a downer. It's just that you can see with those kinds of options, and the banks and the realtors and the people with their private homes that want to sell, and they can't, what has to happen? That price has to come down. What a driver I am. Now if I can get out of my door. So the prices are going to come down. It's going to take a while. You got to rent. You got a roommate. You got to buy an RV. You got to do what you got to do. And the first thing you need to do is get rid of that debt. Cut all that fat out of your budget, so you can afford the high rent, much less a house. Start slimming down. Sell everything you can that you don't need on Craigslist or Facebook Marketplace. Take everything else to the dumpster or Goodwill, and be a minimalist. Get your life down to what bills you have to pay to live comfortably without pinching a penny for the rest of your life. But stop being frivolous. Be cognizant of what you got, because some lean times are coming, and everybody's going to be out scraping for the same acorn out there in the yard. And so those that are prepared will be able to crush it.